The phone call that shattered my world came at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, just as I was savoring Dom Perignon on my penthouse balcony. "Don't come to Isabelle's wedding. You'll ruin the photos." No hello, no hesitation. Just my mother's voice, cold and matter-of-fact, delivering words that cut deeper than any blade. I stared at the phone screen displaying Mom and felt something crystallize into ice-cold clarity. This was it, the moment I'd been unconsciously waiting for my entire life. My name is Alexandra Vance, but to my family, I've always been just Sarah, the disappointing daughter who couldn't measure up. For 28 years, I've lived in my perfect sister Isabelle's shadow, watching as she collected every ounce of our parents' love and attention. But what my family doesn't know is that their failure daughter has been quietly building an empire while they dismissed me as worthless. The irony is almost poetic. As I sat in my multi-million-dollar penthouse, CEO of Vance Hospitality Group with 17 luxury properties, my mother was uninviting me from a wedding taking place at my own venue. The Grandeur Estate, the crown jewel of my hospitality empire, was where my golden child sister was supposed to marry her finance bro fiancé Brandon Hayes. For 3 years, I'd maintained an elaborate charade. To my family, I was the struggling, unemployed daughter living in a cramped apartment, driving a beat-up Honda, working odd hospitality jobs. I'd shown up to family dinners in thrift store clothes, endured condescending advice about getting my life together, while secretly building a $47 million empire. The deception hadn't been born from malice, but from desperate hope that someday my family would see me for who I really was. Every family gathering was self-erasure, watching my achievements dismissed while Isabelle's mundane accomplishments were celebrated like Nobel victories. Brandon. The memory of our encounter 6 months ago still made my blood boil. He'd somehow found my real contact information, called begging for investment in his ridiculous cryptocurrency venture, not knowing who I was. His pitch was embarrassingly amateur, his arrogance breathtaking. When I'd politely declined, he became aggressive, demanding to know why a nobody in hospitality thought she could judge his revolutionary ideas. Now, as my mother's words echoed in my mind, I realized this moment had been inevitable. They didn't want me there because I didn't fit their perfect picture. I walked inside, bare feet silent on imported Italian marble, and picked up my phone. My fingers moved with steady purpose as I dialed Liam, general manager of the Grandeur Estate. "Miss Vance?" His voice was groggy. "Is everything all right?" "Liam, I need you to cancel the Vance-Hayes wedding scheduled for Saturday." Silence stretched between us. "Ma'am, did you say cancel? The wedding in 4 days? With 200 guests and a $200,000 deposit?" "You heard correctly. Cancel it. Immediately." "Miss Vance, we can't just cancel a wedding 4 days out. The vendors, catering, flowers, Elite Weddings magazine is sending photographers. This could destroy our reputation. Refund every penny. Pay the vendors in full. Handle the magazine however you need to. I'll absorb all costs and legal ramifications, and maintain absolute confidentiality about our ownership." After hanging up, I called Chloe, my personal assistant. "Book the presidential suite at Oceanfront Paradise Resort for this weekend. Arrange the Mercedes for Saturday morning." I spent the rest of the night staring out at the city, my mind surprisingly calm. Somewhere out there, my family slept peacefully, unaware their perfect wedding was about to become a disaster. When dawn broke, my phone had been buzzing since 6 a.m. Finally, at 7:30, I scrolled through the notifications. 43 missed calls and 67 text messages, desperation escalating with each hour. Isabelle's first text: "Sarah, something terrible happened. The Grandeur Estate canceled our wedding. Some emergency with the property. Can you call me?" By 6:45 a.m., "Sarah, please call back. I don't know what to do. Brandon is losing his mind. Mom is crying. We need your help. You work in hospitality, you must know someone." My mother's messages were predictably self-centered. "Sarah, you need to drop everything and help us. Use whatever connections you have. This cannot be happening to our family." Even in crisis, they saw me only as a tool, a resource to exploit. Not once did anyone ask how I was doing. I dressed carefully that morning, choosing elegant Armani and deep navy. The Mercedes waited downstairs as I settled into leather seats. My phone erupted with Brandon's call. "Sarah, thank God. I know we don't really know each other, but Isabelle says you have connections. We're desperate. The wedding is in 3 days and we have nowhere to go." I let silence stretch. "Brandon, can I ask you something?" "Sure, anything, just please help us." "Do you actually love my sister, or do you just love what marrying her represents for your social status?" The question caught him off guard. Of course I love Isabelle. That's crazy. Why would you ask that?" "Because I'm curious what you'll do if the Vance name doesn't carry the weight you think it does. What happens if we're not the wealthy, well-connected family you thought you were marrying into?" "What are you talking about? Your dad owns 3 restaurants, and your mom's on the country club board." I almost laughed at his delusions. Interesting perspective, Brandon. Good luck with the venue situation. I hung up before he could respond. The Mercedes glided toward Oceanfront Paradise Resort, one of my crown jewels, while behind me, my family's perfect world crumbled. At the resort, I spent Saturday in blissful solitude, enjoying spa treatments and dining on exquisite cuisine. Meanwhile, my family had secured backup venue at the downtown community center. Social media photos told the story. My elegant sister looking frazzled in designer gown, surrounded by folding chairs and fluorescent lighting. The irony wasn't lost on me. While they celebrated in their makeshift venue, I lounged in luxury at a resort they didn't even know I owned. Sunday evening, I finally turned my phone on. Messages had reached epic proportions, and buried among them was one that made me pause. From Isabelle. Sarah, I saw yesterday's photos. I know what Mom said about the wedding. I know why you didn't come. I'm so sorry. But I need to know, why did this happen? Another from my father. Sarah, we received a full refund from something called Meridian Hospitality Group today. Do you know anything about this? Meridian Hospitality Group. My holding company. They'd received a check meant Liam handled the situation exactly as instructed, maintaining corporate veil while ensuring my family was made financially whole. It was time for the truth to come out, all of it. I called Isabelle back, and for the first time in years, we had a real conversation. She cried, I listened. She apologized. I accepted. By the end, my sister knew everything. The business empire, the secret identity, the reason for the wedding cancellation. Alex, she whispered, using my real name for the first time in years. I can't believe you did all this while we treated you so badly. I'm so ashamed. I didn't do it for revenge, Bella. I did it because I had to prove to myself that I was worth something, even if our family couldn't see it. We talked for 2 hours. When we hung up, Isabelle wanted to arrange a family meeting. She wanted everyone to know the truth about who I really was. The family meeting was scheduled for the following weekend at my penthouse. They arrived at 7 p.m. My parents, Isabelle, and Brandon, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. The silence was deafening as they walked through my home, taking in custom artwork, imported furnishings, floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city below. Everything screamed wealth and success. We gathered in the living room. I took my place in the leather armchair. My family arranged themselves on the sofa, looking like defendants awaiting sentencing. I suppose you're wondering why I asked you here, I began. My mother found her voice first. Sarah, how can you afford all this? Did you win the lottery? Even now, she couldn't imagine I might have earned this through merit. My name isn't Sarah anymore, Mom. It's Alexandra. Alexandra Vance, CEO and founder of Vance Hospitality Group. I pulled up the company website on my tablet. My professional headshot smiled back, accompanied by a bio detailing my business achievements. Vance Hospitality Group owns 17 properties across 5 states. Our annual revenue last year was $47 million. We employ over 800 people, and yes, we own the Grandeur Estate, where Isabelle's wedding was supposed to take place. The color drained from my father's face. You own the Grandeur Estate? I don't just own it, Dad. I bought it 3 years ago when it was a rundown mansion. I renovated it, transformed it into the luxury venue it is today. When Isabelle booked her wedding there, I approved the booking, and yes, I canceled it. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. Why would you cancel your own sister's wedding? I stood and walked to the windows. Because on Tuesday night you called and told me not to come because I would ruin the photos. In that moment I realized you'd rather have me not exist than risk me embarrassing you. Turning back, I continued. For 3 years, I've maintained this charade. I've pretended to be the failure you expected because I hoped that somehow you'd learn to love me for who I am. But when you uninvited me from Isabelle's wedding, I realized no amount of pretending would make you see me as worthy of your love. Isabelle was crying now. Brandon looked stunned. My parents sat in silence. Do you want to know the most ironic part? I asked. Brandon, when you called 6 months ago begging for investment in your cryptocurrency scheme, you were talking to one of the city's most successful entrepreneurs. You spent 20 minutes insulting my intelligence, not knowing I have more business experience than you could imagine. Brandon's face went pale. That was you? Because that's my name. It's always been my name. Sarah was just the diminutive our family used, a way of keeping me small. But I outgrew that name, just like I outgrew the need for your approval. I showed them a Forbes article featuring me as one of the 30 under 30 entrepreneurs to watch. This came out 2 months ago. I've been invited to speak at conferences, offered book deals, courted by investors. But none of you knew because you never bothered to ask what I was really doing with my life. My father finally found his voice, but the apartment, the old car? All real, Dad. The apartment was my first purchase in a building I was renovating. The car was what I drove before I could afford better. The jobs were research, learning the industry from the ground up. I sat back down. Every family dinner where you lectured me, every time you dismissed my opinions, I was building this empire. I was proving to myself that I had value, even if you couldn't see it. My mother stared at me. Why didn't you tell us? Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not what I have. I wanted to be included in Isabelle's wedding because I'm her sister, not because I'm successful. My father cleared his throat. Alexandra, are you angry with us? I'm hurt, Dad. I'm disappointed. But I don't hate you. You're my family, and I love you. I just can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not to fit your expectations. What do you want from us now? My mother asked. I want you to know who I really am. I want respect, not just tolerance. I want to be included, not just endured. Isabelle stood up and walked over to me. Alex, I want to do better. I want to be the sister you deserve. Could I work for you? I have a degree in event planning, and I want to learn from you. The request surprised me with its sincerity. For the first time in years, Isabelle was looking at me with genuine respect. Brandon shifted uncomfortably. I realize I made mistakes. I had wrong assumptions about your family. But I do love Isabelle, and I want to make this work. I studied him carefully. My sister deserves a partner who loves her for who she is, not for what he thinks she can do for his career. If you're genuinely committed to building a real relationship with her, you have my support. He met my eyes. I understand why you don't trust me, but I want to prove that I love your sister, regardless of her family's wealth or status. Then prove it with actions, not words. My mother looked older somehow. Alexandra, I'm ashamed of how I've treated you. I don't know how to fix what I've broken, but I want to try. It's not broken, Mom. We have an opportunity now to build something real, something honest, but it's going to require all of us to be willing to change. My father stood and walked over to me. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. I should have said that years ago. I'm proud of what you've accomplished, and I'm sorry I wasn't there to support you. The words I'd waited my entire life to hear finally came, and they hit me with unexpected force. Thank you, Dad. That means more than you know. 6 months later, as I sat in my office overlooking the city, I reflected on how much had changed. Isabelle had joined Vance Hospitality Group, throwing herself into the work with genuine talent. She and Brandon had rebuilt their relationship on honesty, finally getting married in a small ceremony at one of my properties. My parents began joining me for dinner every Sunday, and slowly we built new relationships based on mutual respect. My mother started asking about my business strategies. My father began seeking my advice and actually listening. The change wasn't instant or perfect. There were still moments of tension. But now we had tools to address those moments honestly, instead of pretending they didn't exist. As I watched the sun set over the city, I realized that the greatest victory wasn't in the money or properties or recognition. The real victory was in finally having the courage to show up as my authentic self and demand the respect I deserved. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't about punishment. Sometimes it's simply about refusing to remain invisible, about insisting on being seen for who you really are. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that act of courage doesn't destroy the relationships you care about, but transforms them into something real and lasting.